Watch him move and maneuver about Bethesda. One of the problems of the modern church that has taken the church out of the loop as far as many are concerned, that has caused the church to be looked at as somewhat obsolete and irrelevant, is that we really don't spend enough time watching Jesus. Do you hear me? Yeah, a lot of the questions that we have could easily be answered if we don't watch Jesus. A lot of the problems that we have could easily be solved if we would only watch Jesus. Do y'all hear me? So we need to take our eyes off of us and pay more attention to him. Do y'all hear me? If you want to get it right, stop watching others and start watching him. Amen. You'll get it right every time. Watch Jesus. I watched Jesus there at the pool of Bethesda. I wanted to watch him because I wanted to know what he did when he encountered people in pain. I needed to know as a preacher, as a Christian, how are we supposed to handle the hurting? We don't like to admit it, but to be honest, you know, we kind of stumble from time to time. When we're given the opportunity to address people's pain as well as people's needs. It's kind of hard for us to see sometimes outside of ourselves. But I need to tell you that one of the things that really separates you from being an average person, an average Christian, an average church, is when you can see pain outside of your own. Do you hear me? Some of us can't see needs other than our own. That's really the difference between good and great, between average and excellent. You're getting close to the kingdom when you can see outside of yourself, your family, your church, your problems, your immediate needs, and respond to the needs of others. Do y'all hear me? That's in essence what we find in Jesus. In spite of being under constant pressure, and I want to underscore constant pressure because Jesus was always under pressure. He was familiar with the human emotions. Everywhere he went, people were plotting against him and trying to undermine his ministry. We hear many times of how Jesus had to kind of ease out because there were mobs of people who were plotting to do him harm. But in spite of his own problems, he stopped by Bethesda to consider the problems of others. In my consecrated imagination, I thought about what Jesus must have been thinking when an infected hand touches his feet. What does he do? When a blind child stumbles in his path, how does he handle it? When a wrinkled hand extends for alms, how does Jesus respond? If the church is to be relevant, do y'all hear me? I said, if the church is to be relevant, if the church is to be real, if Christianity is to mean anything in these modern times, it must grapple with the question, how does God feel when people are in pain? Do y'all hear me? The text suggests with crystal clear clarity that Jesus dealt with pain up close and personal. You want to know how I get that out of the text? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's quite simple. There's a feast going on. There are all kinds of enjoyable activities going on in Jerusalem. There's fine food and festivities. This was a time when all the Jews came back to Jerusalem to commemorate and celebrate the Passover. The Passover was that time in Jewish history when the death angel passed over all the houses of the Hebrews, where the blood of the lamb was smeared on the doorposts and slew all the firstborns in Egypt. Are y'all listening? Go back and read Exodus 11 and 12. So they celebrated and called it the Passover. Because God purposefully, the death angel purposefully passed over all of the Israelites' house that had that blood smeared on the doorpost. And everybody made it back to celebrate and see old friends and formulate new friendships and renew old relationships. But where is Jesus while all the celebrating is going on? Why isn't Jesus among all the joy and jubilation? Instead of choosing the crowd where all the fun is, he chose to hang out with another crowd. There Jesus is with all of these fun and festivities going on. There Jesus is at Bethesda. Do y'all hear me? I mean, a lot is happening all over town. This is an annual event, much anticipated event. But there Jesus is, instead of celebrating and instead of getting caught up in all that was going on in the emotion of the atmosphere, Jesus is at Bethesda. He chooses to hang out with the hurting. He's preoccupied with the people that are in pain. But why now? I mean, can't this wait? Doesn't Jesus know how to have fun? I mean, there are much more enjoyable crowds than this crowd to hang out with. You know, with all the fun and entertainment going on, why does he choose to sit with the suffering? Maybe many of us would probably ponder these questions at another time, but the truth is that Jesus took pain personally. And one of the things that wreck our witness is that we distance ourselves from people in pain. We don't want to be near them because we're afraid that they may want something from us. They may ask for our help. They may need some assistance. And we don't want our conscience to bother us or get the best of us. We don't want to be made to feel obligated or compelled to help. So the best thing to do is to distance ourselves and act like we don't see them. And act like hurting people don't exist. Let's continue to have church service, but never do any church work. Do y'all hear me? Yes. Let's continue to have church, but not be the church. And I know we kind of get caught up on having church, and it sounds good. You know, we hear people saying all the time about how they had church somewhere. You know, it has become so popular to hear the expression, boy, did we have church Sunday. Do y'all hear me? But I want you to understand, and I want to go on record as saying here in your presence that it is more important to be the church than to have church. Do y'all hear me? Way more important to be the church than to have church. Do y'all hear me? Yeah, that's what we need to focus on, being the church. You know, let's just keep praying for them without providing or making provision for their particular predicament. Let's talk like Christ, but not act like Christ. All right. I'm talking about pain up close and personal. Maybe we can encounter people in pain and not do anything, but not Jesus. Jesus takes it personal. The reason why we can do it so well, because simply put, in spite of all the good talk, that's just about all there is to it. Amen. My grandmother used to say, talk is cheap.
Yes, it is.
The truth of the matter is that many of us is just not really where we ought to be in Christ. Jesus said that if any man comes after me, the first thing required is that he denies himself. We can't do that. It's only an emergency when it involves us or those in our concentric circle of contact. So when it's our family member, our loved one, our child, our mother, our father, our sister, or brother, we want God to literally stop what he's doing, to hear what's happening in our lives. But oh, how nonchalant, casual, and cool we are when somebody else is hurting. Do y'all hear me?
Amen.
We just casually say, well, we'll keep you in mind. Amen? We keep you in prayer. But whenever it involves us and whenever it involves our family and our loved ones, oh, how passionate we become. I really want you to see Jesus as you've never seen him before. Look at it by Bethesda's pool. Look at him with the beggars and the blind. Everybody else in Jerusalem is at the park, but Jesus is at the pool. He's with those who can't make it to the park where all the celebrating is going on. He's with those who lay every day waiting on something to happen that will change the circumstances of their lives. He's with those who can run and jump and play and have fun. He's with those who have agony as their constant companion and suffering as their only friend. He's with those who know misery morning, noon, and night. You want to know why Jesus isn't there? It's simple. Jesus dealt with pain up close. He took it personal. If you don't believe it, go back and read Isaiah 63 and 9 as it talks about the coming of Jesus as our Savior and says, in their affliction he was afflicted. In other words, Jesus suffered when he saw others suffering. Can somebody help me that reads the Bible like I read it? And yet he suffered when he saw others suffering. Tell somebody.
Amen.
Jesus hurt when he saw others hurting. That's why Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 15 tells us that we have not a high priest who cannot be touched by the feelings of our infirmities. In other words, Jesus feels what we feel. He is a part of us because he loves us so. He cannot just walk away and separate himself from us when we are hurting. He has to hang on in there with us because he feels our pain. As he moves and maneuvers around, he walks up to a man who had been a paralytic for 38 years. He walks up and says, "Sir, do you want to get well?" Notice that the name of the man here is kept strictly anonymous. And when the Bible doesn't give us certain facts, such as names or some other piece of identity, it's because it wants us to get the big picture. Because the reality is that this passage is not really about this man. This passage is really much bigger than the man here at the pool of Bethesda. We know how the story concludes. The man tells Jesus he had nobody to put him in the water when the water is troubled. Yes. And then Jesus finally tells him, rise, take up your bed and walk. But the moral of the story is that Jesus is just as much concerned about your pain as he was the man at Bethesda's pool. I alluded to the anonymity of the man. Yes, you notice he does not call the man by his name. He does not ask the man his name or inquire about his heritage or history. Lord, he does not need a whole lot of data about this man. And I believe that Jesus, with our purposeful intentionality, made no reference to this man's identity. Great, y'all, because he would have mentioned the man's name. He could have potentially messed up the story. Y'all hear me? For we might have concluded that the individuality and specificity of the man's identity suggests that the miracle was just for that man. In other words, that miracle was never made for Bob. It didn't have anything to do with Wilson. It didn't have anything to do with McFarland. It didn't have anything to do with Hayden. But I'm glad that it says a certain man was there. Oh, Lord. So if we raise the question as to who the man really was, the reality is it could have been you and it could have been me. Oh yeah. It could have been any member of the human family. Did y'all hear me? It could have been anybody that's in pain right now. Oh Lord. But what I want to know is just as important as the man's pain was, so is your pain. Did y'all hear me? He's doing the same thing for you right now that he did at Bethesda way back then. Oh yeah. He walked around your situation. And he's questioning you. Do you want to get any better? Yeah. He wanted to know. Do you want a better life for yourself? Yeah. Do you want to have any more than what you have? And if you really want to do something more than what you're doing now, I hear him saying, rise, 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 pick up your bed. Did y'all hear me? The bed was once holding the man, but now the man is holding the bed. Did y'all hear me? Whatever it is, just controlling you. Whatever it is, just holding you. You only rise up now. That's what was holding you. That's what was controlling you. You can control that thing. Y'all hear me? I hear him saying, Rise. Rise. If you want to get up right now, all you got to do is put on your trust in Lord. He will. He will. Yes, He will. Oh, He will help you rise. Help you rise. Help you rise. Yes. Won't He do it? Anybody know He will? Won't He do it? Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. Yes. Take up your bed, whatever it is, holding you down. I hear it say, rise, rise. You can rise above it. You can take control of it. Rise.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
He speaks to you wherever you are, in what kind of pain you may have, and then rise. He challenges you to rise. No matter how long you've been there.
Thank you, Lord.
No matter how long it's held you. Some things have held us for a long time. That bed has been holding the man a long time. Jesus saw his pain. He says, I don't want you to just have the bed holding you. This day you're going to hold that bed. Rise up. Take up that bed and walk.